Hey there, another tactic that normally involves sacrifices is the deflection, which is about moving a piece away from a square. An enemy piece can be playing an important defensive role, so we might want to move that enemy piece away from that square. If we can do this by exchanging pieces of equal value, then that's great. But again, sometimes we might even sacrifice material, a lot of material, in order to deflect that piece. In this position, this bishop on e7 is stopping the move rook to e8, which would be a checkmate. And we know that here, instead of moving this bishop which is attacked, we should first analyze if there's any forcing attacking move. And here the move queen to d8 is actually very strong because we deflect this bishop from e7. And after taking, which is the only move, we just give this very nice checkmate with the rook supported by the bishop. In this game, white has a clear advantage. White is an exchange up. And we see that this queen is defending this pawn on h6, attacked by the rook, and also this rook on e5, which is attacked by the queen. With that in mind, here white played a very strong rook takes pawn, deflecting the queen. And already here, black is a very strong player, black resigned. But the main point is that after taking, we can take the rook on e5. But also here we might play the move rook to h1, so this move has more than one purpose. Because now that the h6 pawn is not there, we have this pin on the queen. And in addition to that, we have this rook hanging, so here this position is just really bad for black. In this next game, we might think about exchanging rooks, but as usual, if we take a look first of all at forcing moves, and secondly we see that this king on e7 is defending the rook, but it could not move to another square to defend the rook. The king cannot move to f7 because of the rook, and it cannot move to e8 because of the knight. With that in mind, here the move d6 is a very strong deflection because after taking the pawn, we get the rook, and although here black got the knight, first of all the exchange is good for white because white got a rook for a knight and a pawn, but also this position is really bad for black because after a move like rook to f6, we would attack this pawn, and then this h-pawn will just be too powerful. In fact, after rook takes f8, black already resigned. Deflection is moving an enemy piece away from a square, which is normally defending, and sacrifices to force an advantage using this tactic are very common.